I wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you personally for all the wonderful messages of support and for your understanding whilst I've been recovering from surgery.
What if I told you Queen Elizabeth left behind more than just a legacy? What if buried deep within her private was a royal twist, so bold it could change the course of the monarchy forever? And at the center of it all is Catherine, Princess of Wales. Not Charles, not Camilla, but Kate. Join us as we explore this shocking royal secret and what it means for the future of the crown. Setting the stage, the royal house after Queen. When Queen Elizabeth II passed away in September 2022, the world mourned not just the end of a life, but the end of an era. Her reign, which spanned 7 decades, was marked by grace, duty, and a calm steadiness that anchored the British monarchy through wars, scandals, and seismic shifts in culture. She wasn't just a head of state. She was the symbol of continuity. And then she was gone. As the ceremonial wheels turned, Charles was crowned king, Camilla was crowned queen, and the press buzzed with royal pomp and ancient rituals. But something was missing, something quiet and deeply personal. Behind the grandeur of public tributes and royal processions, a more intimate story remained untold. One that had nothing to do with thrones, crowns, or public statements, and everything to do with what Queen Elizabeth chose to keep hidden. Because somewhere in a locked cabinet, possibly in Windsor Castle or perhaps in a sealed legal vault, sits her final will and testament. And unlike any ordinary will in the UK, this one will remain secret for 90 years. Why? Because the Queen's will isn't just about money or titles. It may contain personal instructions, emotional bequests, and perhaps even quiet royal power plays meant to reshape the future of the monarchy. At the center of this mystery isn't Charles. It's not even Camilla, the name whispered most often by palace insiders. Catherine, Kate Middleton, the Princess of Wales. Could Queen Elizabeth have seen Kate not just as a supportive wife to William, but as her spiritual successor? The woman who could truly carry her legacy forward? If so, the monarchy's future may not rest in the hands of the current king, but in the quiet influence of the Queen's chosen heir. The will nobody can read, secrets of a royal tradition. Unlike any ordinary citizen in Britain, the Queen's will isn't filed in a public probate court. It won't be picked apart by tabloids or scrutinized by lawyers on morning TV. Instead, it's locked away, literally, inside a secure vault in London. A heavy, temperature-controlled safe holds not just Queen Elizabeth's will, but over 30 secret royal wills, dating all the way back to Prince Francis I, Queen Mary's brother, in 1911. Once a monarch dies, a special legal process kicks in. A senior judge from the High Court is petitioned to seal the will indefinitely, or in modern cases, for 90 years. No media, no family member, not even Parliament has a right to access its contents until then. It's a tradition steeped in royal secrecy and control, a way to avoid scandal, protect legacies, and keep internal family tensions from going public. But why would Queen Elizabeth follow such a tradition so strictly? Maybe because she saw what happens when wills go public. Princess Diana's will was made public after her death in 1997. It sparked controversy, media-feeding frenzies, and even questions about whether her final wishes were altered. Prince Philip's will? Also sealed, for the same reason. To protect the dignity of the Queen, the court said. Now, imagine what might be inside Elizabeth II's will. Personal letters, hidden apologies, special gifts, secret instructions, and maybe, just maybe, a direct message to William and Catherine. A blessing, a warning, a vision of the monarchy's future. One she believed in, even if it didn't match the one the public sees today. Because when you rule for 70 years, you don't just hand over the keys. You shape what comes next from behind the curtain. Catherine's quiet rise, why the Queen trusted her. She wasn't born royal. She didn't grow up in palaces or rub elbows with aristocrats. Catherine Elizabeth Middleton came from a middle-class family in Berkshire, grounded by love, hard work, and quiet dignity. But that, perhaps, was exactly why Queen Elizabeth watched her so closely. While the world obsessed over Kate's fashion, her wedding, her smile, the Queen saw something else. Stability. In a family plagued by drama, divorces, scandals, betrayals, Catherine was calm, composed, and unwavering. She never sought the spotlight, yet she never shrank from it either. She endured the brutal tabloid storm with a grace that echoed the Queen's own silent endurance through decades of public life. Behind palace walls, they met often, far more than the press knew. And insiders say the Queen offered Kate something rare: her time, her mentorship, her trust. Elizabeth saw in Catherine what she once saw in herself as a young monarch, a woman with the strength to lead, the patience to listen, and the discipline to endure. And let's not forget, during Prince Philip's funeral, when royal tensions were sky high, it was Catherine who reunited William and Harry, not with power, not with force, but with kindness. She understood the crown's true currency, unity. So if Queen Elizabeth truly did leave behind a secret message, a blessing hidden in that sealed will, Catherine may be the one she was writing to, not just as William's wife, not just as the future queen consort, but as a guardian of the crown's soul. In a monarchy defined by bloodlines, Catherine rose by character, and that was exactly what the Queen was looking for. Clues in the final days, hints the Queen left behind. The final chapter of Queen Elizabeth's life did unfold in Buckingham Palace. It happened in Balmoral, her sanctuary, the place she loved most, and maybe the place where she felt safe enough to prepare for what came next. In those final weeks, she moved quietly, yet deliberately. One by one, she summoned close family, meetings behind closed doors. No press, no pomp, just whispered truths and unspoken decisions. And then, an extraordinary detail. 2 days before her death, she met with Liz Truss to formally appoint her as Prime Minister. Despite her failing health, she insisted on fulfilling that constitutional duty. Because for Elizabeth, the crown came first, always. But to those who knew her best, that wasn't the real story. The Queen knew the end was near. And according to insiders, she was tying loose ends, making sure everything was in place, especially for the monarchy's future. Behind the scenes, reports suggest personal letters were written, some sealed, some hand-delivered. One, rumored to be for Catherine herself. Notably, Camilla was kept at arm's length during those final days, while William and Catherine were said to spend hours at Balmoral, quietly, without announcement. Even the Queen's beloved dog, her corgis, were passed on to Prince Andrew, a choice that stunned many. But what if every move in those last days was a message not in words, but in actions, in who she saw, in who she trusted, in who she spent her final moments with? Elizabeth, the monarch who never gave interviews, who never explained, may have said everything without ever speaking aloud. And when that seal was locked away, a document that by law will remain secret for 90 years, the world realized she left something behind, but not for us. The power shift, William and Catherine stepped forward. When Queen Elizabeth passed, the world paused, but the monarchy did not. In that moment of grief, a quiet but decisive shift occurred. Charles became king, but William and Catherine became the future. Not just heirs, not just titles, but symbols, anchors for a monarchy teetering between tradition and transformation. Public sentiment didn't orbit Charles. It gravitated to William and Kate. Why? Because they weren't just royal. They were relatable. The couple who dropped kids at school, who smiled through the grief, who looked the world in the eye and said, "We're ready." Behind the scenes, royal insiders whispered of a growing influence. In those weeks after the Queen's passing, palace aides weren't just turning to Charles. They were quietly consulting William, and more often than not, Kate. Their elevation was fast, strategic, purposeful. Catherine was made Princess of Wales within 24 hours of Elizabeth's funeral, a title once carried by Diana, and not just inherited, but embraced. At the same time, Charles's popularity stalled. Camilla, despite her queen consort title, struggled to capture public affection. Her approval numbers? Far lower than Catherine's. Even tabloids, once obsessed with Meghan, now ran headlines like, "Kate, the crown's quiet commander." A silent handover was beginning, not in thrones, but in hearts. The people weren't waiting. They were choosing. And in their eyes, The future wore a sapphire ring once worn by Diana and smiled like hope. Catherine's rise, the people's princess reimagined. Once, there was Diana, a princess who broke the royal mold, not with rebellion, but with compassion. And now, a generation later, Catherine walks in her shadow, and yet casts her own. Diana made the monarchy human. Catherine made it relevant. She wasn't just showing up. She was leading initiatives, not for headlines, but for impact, from the Shaping Us campaign to her groundbreaking work in maternal mental health. Catherine emerged as something the monarchy hadn't seen in decades, a modern royal with a mission. Kate isn't just taking over Diana's legacy. She's evolving it. She's strategic. She's focused. She's building a platform that could one day define a reign. The public responded. In an age of media skepticism and royal scandal, Catherine became a beacon of stability, a mother, a leader, a silent strategist, and above all, a princess not just by title, but by choice of the people. Where Diana once walked alone, surrounded by flashing cameras, Catherine now walks with William, not behind, not overshadowed. The monarchy isn't just watching her rise. It's relying on it. The British monarchy stands at a pivotal crossroads, with William and Catherine poised to lead into a new era, balancing timeless traditions with the demands of a modern world. Their vision not only honors the legacy of Queen Elizabeth, but also promises a refreshed and relatable monarchy for future generations. As the royal family adapts, we witness a fascinating blend of history, innovation, and influence shaping the future of the crown. What do you think the future holds for the monarchy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Which royal figure do you believe will define the next chapter? If you found this insight compelling, make sure to subscribe and join us for more exclusive royal stories.